What's up, everyone? It's Noah. Happy to come onto the channel. I know in a couple hours, Capitals fans are going to be pretty nervous because the Seattle Kraken is going to be hosting the new NHL expansion draft. Just a quick rundown on what I'm going to be talking about in the video. We're going to talk about the protected players, the players that aren't protected, and there's a lot of surprises on that list, and my predictions for what's going to happen. But before we get started with that video, just a reminder on the expansion draft rules. The Seattle Kraken must select at least one player from every team in the NHL. In terms of the Capitals end, we're allowed to protect 12 players. And as a result, we have quite a few players that have been left unprotected. So without further ado, let's get into it. So the quick rundown. The protected list obviously include Ovechkin, your Backstrom, your Ilya Samsonov, your Evgeny Kuznetsov, players that we were expected to have protected in the draft. However, the list of unprotected players has a lot of big names. We have Carl Hagelin, Connor Sheary, Justin Schultz, Brendan Dillon, Nicholas Jensen, and Vita Vanacek. I know that comes as a surprise, especially considering we protected Trevor Van Riemsdyk over Brendan Dillon. I was very surprised by that move. I think this is a strategy, though, because they know that they were probably only going to take one player from each team and then make limited trades after. That even though they're unprotected, the chances of certain of these players being selected is very low. However, I am concerned that Vanacek might be selected, but it all depends on what the Kraken want to do. If you look at the Vegas Golden Knights, for example, they were not afraid to try to win quickly, and they needed a face to the franchise. That's why Marc-Andre Fleury was surprisingly selected, and look how that turned out for the Golden Knights. Will the Kraken do the same thing? I'm not sure. However, if they do go for even a more balanced approach or a youth movement, Vanacek's one of the first goalies off the board. There's a lot of rumors that Chris Driedger of the Florida Panthers is their goalie, as well as possibly Braden Holtby, former Capital, as well as Carey Price. So if they want to bring in that starter day one, then they maybe think Vanacek's a good youngster to have in the pipeline. We'll all see. There's a lot of rumors swirling around. But right now, people are leaning towards Vanacek or Connor Sheary as the Capital that's being selected. My thoughts, I am really concerned that Vanacek will be selected, but I think that the Kraken are going to really lean into a more aggressive approach, which means that they're going to try to win they're going to try to make the playoffs next year, and they're going to try to be like the Golden Knights and make that cup run in 2 to 3 years. If that's the case, then you can't wait for Vanacek. Vanacek's a very young goaltender, still under 22 years old, and goalies are some of the slowest to develop when it comes to the NHL. So that means they need to really lean on a veteran goaltender right away, and Carey Price would be their perfect star. Chris Driedger is finally heading into his prime of his career, but like I said, really mixed bag on whether it's going to be a franchise goaltender. You have Braden Holtby as well. So hopefully that comes true and they don't select Vanacek, because even though there is that little pipeline confusion with Samsonov and Vanacek, the fact that the Vanacek could be walking away in the expansion draft without any compensation is huge risk. But in my thoughts, I don't think that Vanacek will be selected by the Kraken because they want to try to win now, especially with Ron Francis at their GM. More aggressive approach in his career when it came to changing and developing teams. So it doesn't make a lot of sense to pick up Vanacek at this point in time. They'd rather go for a Carl Hagelin, a Connor Sheary, maybe even Brendan Dillon, unfortunately, or Justin Schultz. Veteran, established players that are not too old, but could add a lot of value in terms of being that third line forward in the case of Hagelin or Sheary, or Dillon and Schultz being that second pair, third pair defenseman, which is what you really need in this league, as you see puck-moving defensemen help you win championships. Tampa Bay Lightning, Victor Hedman, even for us Capitals, John Carlson, having a lot of those defensive depth from those couple years ago, really sees the template leaning towards goalies and two-way defensemen with energy forwards. So I think the Capitals' biggest concern of players that we're going to lose is Brendan Dillon, Justin Schultz, Connor Sheary, Vanacek, and Hagelin. Besides that, I think overall what is the next steps as a result? What are we going to do if one of those players is selected? So that's the thing, is that the Vanacek pick brings the most fear into Capitals fans, but in a sense, it should not. We already have Ilya Samsonov, already committed to him as being the goalie of our future. So we were going to eventually end up in a Michael Neuvirth, Simeon Varlamov situation all over again. So this is just for the best. I wish we can get compensation if he's selected, but in terms of players, he wouldn't be the most painful loss. In my opinion, Brendan Dillon would be the biggest loss if he's selected. He's a big defensive defenseman that served well for the Capitals and brings a lot of balance to the left-handed left D. In that Capital system, they really need those type of defensemen. And they're not easy to come by. That's a big reason why it was a big acquisition for us as we pushed the playoffs these past couple of years. So that's my biggest concern, is that we don't have anyone that can step up and replace that type of player. Because defensemen are hard to come back, like I said. Justin Schultz is a loss, but he's a very turnover-prone, injury-prone offensive defenseman. I think that's the big reason why we chose to protect Trevor Van Riemsdyk over Schultz, because Trevor Van Riemsdyk, even though he hasn't had a breakout season yet, he's younger. We can develop him to be that right-handed defenseman behind Carlson, but Brandon Dillon, I think, would be the biggest loss if he's selected. Connor Sheary is another name that keeps popping up constantly in the rumor mills. He's an energy forward. He's a decent player, don't get me wrong, but if he's selected, we can find a replacement for him on this team. So that was a pretty quick video, and I know everybody that's a Capitals fan is nervous and excited to see a team in Seattle. That's pretty crazy to think about. Even a couple years ago, I would never have thought that would happen. And we'll see where the direction goes for the Kraken, but more importantly, who's going to get selected amongst the unprotected players in the Capitals roster. Again, this is Noah. Glad to come on the channel on DMVSportsZone. We'll be posting a lot more Capitals-specific videos, and I'm very excited for the offseason to continue to roll along, see the draft, and see how that goes, and provide my thoughts and my analysis on all of these takes. Definitely want to hear what you guys think. You think Vanacek is going to be the big loss, he's going to be the one selected, or somebody else? And I would love to have a dialogue in the comments. So, again, real excited, real nervous, but really excited to see the sport of hockey grow. See a new NHL franchise, so it's a win for hockey, and as a Capitals fan and a hockey fan first and foremost, a big win for us all.
Knocked down before it received. Vanacek loose in front there, diving effort, and Vanacek with the save of the day.